Welcome, everyone, to our Power Thinking, rejuvenating your amazing mind training for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. This is our 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time edition, and I'm your moderator, Stanley Green. But I just facilitate. You all make it work. And this is where we invest just 30 minutes out of the 10,000 plus minutes that we have each week to help us to refine and build these essential, not soft skills or nice to know skills, nice to have, but absolutely essential skills to help us move forward in life. Because as we're moving forward, there are going to be obstacles that we have to get around, that we have to get over, things that set us back. And as we're speaking here, there may be things professionally on your job, in your entrepreneurial endeavors, at home, in your families, where there are challenges. And what we do with Power Thinking is empower you with evidence-based skills to build strengths so that you can push through. So you may be down, but you won't stay down for long. So I hope you had a great Thanksgiving last week. Hope your week is going well and that you're certainly getting your morning off to a good start. Today, we will focus on the power of setting transformational goals. You know, you can't spend too much time on goals. They're so important. You know, and there are folks who are just trying to get through and without them. And there are folks who are constantly setting goals, the big goals. And we want to focus on what we're calling transformational goals. And wanted to bring up, you know, one of our newer, who actually has been with us about a year now, Power Thinking members and app users. And we have a partnership where we sponsor one of her two programs each week, Mind Over Matter Mondays, 10 a.m. on LinkedIn. So we're bringing up Leslie Flowers, who is our special guest today. And I want Leslie because she actually has a workshop going tomorrow. So the timing is right to talk about, you know, these transformational goals and what that's all about. And I want to get your thoughts as well. We do have a poll on LinkedIn. Go to the Stanley Green LinkedIn page. And the poll question is, and you can answer it here, have you ever achieved a transformational goal? We're going to spend some time with Leslie to kind of explore exactly what is the difference between a goal and a transformational goal. And as I said, I can recall times when, you know, there are things that were done that were actually transformational. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for, you know, setting, you know, these big, what most people would think would be impossible goals, transformational goals. So I want to be focused on that. And with that, and so I'd like to get your thoughts. We did send out a 4.5-minute video, Simon Sinek video, about being driven by purpose and having that big vision. So I'd love to get your thoughts about that. And have you ever achieved a transformational goal? The question, the answers, options are yes, you have, or no, haven't, or maybe you're still working on it. So I'd love to get your thoughts about that. So let's welcome Leslie Flowers to the stage here. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd like you to give folks a little bit about your background so they can kind of get a feel for, you know, how this thing around transformational goals relates to you and your accomplishments. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you and so glad you're here. And thank you for inviting me, Stanley. So, my background in a nutshell over the last 20 years is the creation of the 12 laws of achievement, with the foundation of which is my expertise in the principles of success, or known as Carnegie's Principles of Success in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the #2 bestseller in personal development of all time over the last 100 years. And I discovered as I was teaching, I've been trained by Bob Proctor in mindset work. I'm a licensed coach and consultant, but really where I've been focusing is on how our thoughts actually change our lives. And over the last 20 years, I have tracked my hybrid program based on Think and Grow Rich, the universal laws. There are 7 of them, the laws of achievement, a little quantum physics, a little metaphysics, a whole lot of spirituality sprinkled in. That I've had 500 documented results. Over 65 business quarters where people set and achieved their goal. Some were transformational, some weren't, but the point is that the process yields consistent goals rather than haphazard or sporadic. And I did this, Stanley, because I was researching over the 20 years. Isn't there a checklist? Nobody knew how to set a goal that you could always achieve. It was bits and pieces based on trial and error. And that's where I developed the checklist that never was, that yields consistent achievement. And that's how you build momentum, build confidence, and self esteem. So each week I teach twice. Well, teach on Friday, the principles of success. And on Monday is our Mind Over Matter Mondays, which is looking into how our mind works and the distinction between brain and mind. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, great. Well, it's great to have you. And some of the folks, I've mentioned some of the folks on the phone line who joined us, and I see that we'll bring up, let's see, we have Sarah and we have Ashif. You know Ashif.
Yeah, he's in
He's very,
Toronto and Zara is in the UK.
there you go.
Yeah. Good.
Great. And who else do we have here? Well, there's Ashif. A life without a cause is a life without effect. And
All true.
Ashif shared that quote. But what I'd like to do, if you can now talk a little bit about the difference between just a regular goal and one that is transformational.
Okay. Well, let's get clear on what transformational is. It's the kind of goal based on a vision, something usually that you've never done before, but you've dreamed about, right? That you have no clue how to do. Or maybe you tried it and you failed at it, but it's still in your heart. This goes beyond your incremental tasks or your SMART goals because those are not designed for large transformational goals. Those SMART goals were created by middle management for middle management. And they're the achievable and realistic, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, or relevant, and time bound. So you do want, as you're doing the smaller tasks or goals, to reach the bigger goal, business or entrepreneurship or small business, doesn't matter. You want those things. Those are not, you need them though to reach your transformational goals. So the first thing to do is distinguish that this has profound and lasting change. So my workshop tomorrow will actually be a transformational workshop. People will have never experienced this. They will go far beyond what they ever thought was possible. And they will have an experience that boosts the awareness of our infinite potential. We start to see that we have a connection to the universe. So these are vision driven. You think about it all the time. You don't know how to do it. It has a big impact. So the greatest gifts, the greatest goals, look at the Taj Mahal, look at the computer industry. There's only a few people that have a dream in which they are so compelled to achieve it that they're the one that it's going to change the world. that it outweighs all their natural fears. Fears are powerful. So the very few people that actually have a transformational goal, it must be so powerful, Stanley, that their natural fear of how am I going to do it? What if I fail? Am I too old? There's a whole list of fears that are stronger than most all of our goals. So this transformational goal has to be strong enough to ignore the fear when you first get going. It'll show up again, but when you first start on something this big, your fear of criticism, judgment, inability, not having enough money, whatever it is, which we all have, except for those born into wealth, right? And it's well practiced, it will shut you down. So that's how compelling a transformational goal is. And that's why there's so few that are achieved. What about you, Stanley? Have you experienced one? I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's interesting. As you were speaking, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, probably won't, but this is an old Palm Pilot. It
Yes.
was the Palm 5.
Yeah.
And before that, and this is from 1999, I was using day timers. And they had little books where and you'd have one for each month, you put in your wallet.
Mhm.
And I was really organized. I kind of kept all kinds of notes. And my team got this for me for the holidays. Earlier that year, we did, and you'll see the gold plaque, but you won't be able to read it. I'll read it to you. It says, Stan Green. It said, through your leadership and guidance, we were able to reach for the stars and achieve what most people thought was impossible. TSM 1999. This is the Palm Pilot. It's kind of cracked up and everything, but I keep that because at the beginning of that year, we decided. I was in the telecommunications TV business, cable TV, and we were going to create a regional news network. I had control over all these local um, cable TV, least access, public access channels. And we were going to create the first ever regional news, CNN type for the Philadelphia area. And this was in January of '99. I said, we're going to get this launched by April 3rd of this year. And people are going, oh my God, this is impossible. There's no way we can do it. And we had 5 different news bureaus to equip. We had news trucks. We had to bring on news people from the regular broadcast stations, interview them, hire them, get them in place. And we did it. And then actually a week before we were going to launch, I got a call from my director of news operations, and she said, can we get more time? I don't think we can pull this off. I said, nope, April 3rd. And by launching April 3rd, we were able to capture one of the most significant but unfortunate tragedies and news stories of that era. And you hear about mass shootings all the time now. But the first big one that uh, really was talked about happened in Colorado,
Mhm.
right? It was
Mhm.
Columbine.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we were there on the scene, interviewing the people who were there, experiencing what they experienced. And Comcast, as a result, in just 9 months later, acquired us. And we became what's called CN8, the Comcast Network News, which went on for about 6 years. And if you took the time, folks, on your phone to Google the Comcast network and you drill down to its history, they will mention TSM News, the Tri State Media, and I named the company Tri State Media News. You'll see them mentioned as part of their history.
So
So that's
let me
it for
ask you
that.
something though about this. So this is you performed a catalytic change, right? This was the ripple effect, and I see you as the leader who actually was the source of a transformational achievement for all the people that were following you. So, it's an amazing feat and it feels great, and really you did something for everybody else too. So it wasn't just you had this big goal and you achieved it. Maybe it was money or a university degree. You led the charge. So do you think it was really transformational for you as equal to everybody who said this isn't possible? Or was it more so for them as a heart-centered servant, or does it matter?
It was for them. I mean, it was for the viewers because we did something innovative. It was we actually had what we call the neighborhood news corps, where people could go out with their camcorders, capture events, police activity, that kind of thing that you see happen all day every day now.
Mhm.
We were doing this in 1999. We utilized Mark Cuban's broadcast.com that he sold, become the billionaire that he is, to broadcast in 1999 what we were doing across the internet around the world. One of the other things we did to help people um, was we got hyper local, and so we won't get into the details, but certainly we did all of that for the people. But what it did for me, it was transformational for me because it said, and my history, being a basketball player, you're a North Carolina State fan, but um, what it did for me was prove again that I was more than just a basketball player.
And did you
Uh,
know how, when you started, did you know exactly how to do everything to achieve it? Or did you simply take a few steps and evaluate as you moved through? And the reason I'm asking this is because one of the problems people have is when they set goals, if they set every milestone between when you started and when you finished, it leaves out the possibility for your growth, for other people coming in for the conversation. So I'm kind of interested here whether you actually plotted it all out and that you knew how to do it, or was it the why that motivated and compelled you to complete it?
okay, so I'll answer that and we'll move on because we have
Okay,
people on
I'm
the
sorry.
line. I have Carla. You moved in. You reverse roles on me,
I'm
so you went
sorry.
into the interview role like you're doing your regular program. But that's okay because when you talked about transformational, I was excited to share that, and there are many others. And this is part of that transformational thing. This is the last of the transformational endeavors. Um, so it was important to share all of that.
Thank you.
So let's not belabor because we have people. I see Olu, who's also on LinkedIn. We have Sherry Aquari, who's communicating from uh, Nairobi, Kenya. Greetings, everyone from East Africa. And Sherry, and we have other folks. I think Olu's mentioning Caroline Zara, who's on. So great morning to all of you. Let's go to our phone lines and first start with Carla Hill. Anyone else? Hit that *6. What did you think about our dialogue so far? And what are your thoughts about this thing called transformational goals? And have you been involved in something where not only, as Leslie mentioned, where you helped to transform others, but you transformed yourself? Olu, thanks for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about transformational goals. Welcome.
Thank you, Stan. So I'm calling in from Lagos, Nigeria. Always a pleasure to come in. A very fascinating topic today, with very relevant one, because it makes us in a positive and not in a negative way to look back on the course of our lives so far, and then we can see some of those landmarks that we've achieved, landmarks that we've achieved in our lives. And I agree. My position is that indeed, as I answered in the poll, there are certain goals that we've set in our lives that led to far more transformational progress. and changes and achievements in our lives than others, you know, because I kind of feel that the whole of our lives is made up of goals, really. You know, it's just that there are little goals, small goals, daily goals, you know, and then there are those really huge ones that take more from us, demand more from us. Uh, and in my experience, I found out that it is those goals in particular that are more developmental, that position us in certain places in life, you know, where we can even reach higher. For instance, I recall that I had an issue with my mom when I just completed high school. You know, in Africa, they tend to always, I mean, the practice was that if you are an A student in, you know, elementary and high school, you were expected to be a doctor, you know, and it was a thing of pride to be a doctor. And for almost as long as I could speak, I felt I was going to be a medical doctor. You know, and then in 1991, just a year before I graduated high school, my school, which was the federal government, introduced a computer department. And for the first time, I saw a computer screen, you know, and in those days, it was not even MS-DOS, it was DOS, you
Oh
know, with
yeah.
those green lines on the codes and all that. I fell in love.
The A prompt.
I fell in love, you know, and I used to watch a lot of documentaries, and I already knew that I had issues with medicine. Because every time I saw documentaries and you know surgeons were cutting into the hearts of people, I'd see hearts and other parts of the body pulsating and blood, and I knew I couldn't do that because the sight of blood always made me queasy, you know, really queasy. So immediately, you know, I switched to computer science. You know, and my mom, when we went on vacation, my mom actually said she was not going to do anything anymore. She was no longer interested. You know, because I became a medical doctor in Africa. That was a huge thing for the family. And they invested so much in my schooling. You know, I went to private school, boarding school, and all of it, you know. So my godmother had to step in. I had to stay with my uncle for 3 days. That was how serious it was. So, I mean, when I look back now on my trajectory with computer science, every great person that I've known, every wonderful relationship that I've known, every opportunity that I've had has come as a result of that.
Hmm.
And more importantly, I'm doing what I love to do. You know, on weekends, I can't wait until it's Monday and I'm back at my PC. I actually tell people sometimes that I think it's part of why I'm still alive. It's part of the things that I face sometimes, but it's because it's a law. It helps me to escape to a place where I'm truly happy. You know, thank you very
Yes.
much for the
Well, thank you, Olu. Really appreciate that. Appreciate what you do and what you've been doing to help us here at Power Thinking. So much appreciated. And I want to acknowledge Sherry Aquari as well, who, for a couple of years was the first to approach me, about virtual assistant services, and it did great work for us. And we're going to be using her again. So again, appreciate you all. To Leslie's point about stepping out and doing something without knowing what to do. I had no news experience, by the way, and I've hired news professionals. And I talked about this vision of being able to broadcast from anywhere and do the news from anywhere and do, um, um, these operate with small cameras as opposed to those big bulky cameras. And of course, people are doing things from their phones now, and they thought I was crazy. And so they said, what are you talking about? So yeah, you're gonna face all kinds of obstacles. But as Olu talked about, you're rooted in something. You have these roots, and his was his vision from a young person and the education and that carries him through to today. Leslie, let's go to Carla next, and then we can comment on both, and love to hear your comments. Let's go to Carla Hill. Carla, mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about these transformational goals. Welcome.
Thank you, Stanley. Yes, I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kudos to Leslie for sharing her experiences. When I hear Leslie, I think of the quote that I often share that your passion is your life's purpose seeking outward expression. So just that energy and that enthusiasm that comes out of what she has to share with the world and her clients is inspiring. And to answer your question, transformational goal, uh, I've often talked about on these lines, or everywhere I go, about the 99-pound weight release that I've had over 4 years of doing it with accountability, doing it with a vision, optimum health. For me, the help of God and people. There's a Kenyan proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others. And in order for me to maintain that optimum health, it is connecting with people like precious faith, so to speak, in terms of weight and health. But in any goals that I'm looking at. So, and the reason I realize I say that all the time is because it's given me the self-efficacy that I believe I can accomplish any goal that God wants me to accomplish, that I'm qualified to do. And if I'm not qualified to do it, then there's a plan and space to continue to develop there. And I love the video in terms of I'm a big picture person. I'm certified in several assessments. I love assessments because it gives you a baseline. I need to know. I just share with other people what you need to know where you're starting. And I know that this is I tend to speak in bullets on that executive type of style, resilience, inclusive, service oriented. And my vision for myself as well as my firm, right, the economic empowerment of others through career planning, business development, and asset building. But one of the reasons why I love power thinking and resilience, the problem that power thinking and resilience building solves, being a people person for 35, being in a people space and being attracted to uplifting people and lift while we climb, is that the gap is people are not making, we're not making decisions of what we want. We don't have the clarity, and it's the mindset. But that sounds so superficial when we say mindset, right? Because what does that mean? And being in that human resources practitioner space for years, one of my pet peeves in training and education is we give great content and concepts. It's not an absence of content or information. It's an absence of implementation and execution. And power thinking gives us the infrastructure to do that on a daily basis. And me, being part of the program for 7 years, I refer a lot of people because I believe in it. Even if you didn't have a bonus, you're like, I was doing that even before you had any type of infrastructure. It's just like if you're telling people about a great movie or anything that has helped you. And I realized to lift people, that is a fundamental foundational skill that we have to develop, is that resilience. But it's work. It's a journey. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Yeah, thank you, Carla, and appreciate you so much because this is a part of a transformational goal, and it's people like you who inspire me because you're referring people or you're inviting me to things where I speak about this, and then people join, and it's been absolutely amazing. This Leslie has been that big transformational vision. Right now, we're talking about 1 million people by the end of 2027. And to go back to your question, how am I going to do it? But that's what we want. And we want to change the world. It sounds impossible. So can you comment on that and then mention what you're doing tomorrow to help people to get in touch with those transformational aspirations?
Wonderful. So usually, thank you, Stanley, and thank you for having me here. So first of all, most transformational goals take a long time. And what I especially loved was what Carla was talking about, using power thinking as the infrastructure or the common denominator to stay consistent. For a short-term goal, a visionary goal, let's say you want to get picked up for a TEDx talk. You don't know how you're going to do it, but it is possible that you could be accepted in a very short period of time. But most of these visionary goals are started without knowing how. And it takes courage and faith to take those first two steps. You must be motivated all the way through. And I would invite you, Stanley, to look at that you're living that dream that you had back then. You are now living in it. When TV first came out, when I was about 11, I used to stand in front of the bathroom mirror, the cabinet, the medicine cabinet, which had a mirror, and I would stand on the toilet seat and pretend I was on TV. Oh, well, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. Now, what I can tell you, just like you wanted smaller cameras, you've got them. You're actually living into the vision, right, that you
Yes,
created. And me too, because now I get to be on TV every
that's
week,
right.
right? So this is what it's all about. And so I'll tell you briefly, because I know we're at 8:01, and I apologize to the audience and thank Carla and Olu for being so profound. And I apologize for taking over a little bit, but I'm so fascinated with Stanley, and you have no idea. Plus, he's the perfect example of a visionary goal. He shared it. So tomorrow it's a 3-hour, once a year. I've done this for 20 years. It's a goal achievement intensive. Simply what happens is the first 90 minutes, I will fill you so full of universal law and principles of success and achievement and quantum physics and metaphysics, where your mind begins to get mushy like a sponge. And when you're in that kind of context, the next 90 minutes are your access to all ideas, which is the universe. So the transformational experience is you will then download all your goals for 2026 and a few beyond that you've never thought of before, and it will be in priority order. So the idea that you can connect with the universe, but this transformational process is not new, but you have to get your mind filled with super high vibrational material. And my unique, I guess, ability is the ability to articulate complex concepts in simple form. So you're going to get clarity on a whole bunch of things. I invite you, right? You can register. I'll put the link in there. It is a paid event. The event is $111, 111, which is an angel number. This is the only thing I charge for each year, Stanley. And every week I teach twice about all of this. So if you want to have an experience, a transformational experience, people come back year after year for this, treat yourself, and I'll tell you how to do it. And I'll be your guide. Thank you, Stanley.
Well, thank you, Leslie. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Carla and Olu, for participating. Transformation. Think about that. And let's come back this evening. Leslie, you'll join us this evening
Yeah,
as
and
well.
I'll be more quiet. I'll be more quiet and let you run your own.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you actually got me going. I did most of the
I
talking,
know.
and that's what this is all about. You know, that connection, the vibrations. We have so much power, folks, and that's why I call this company PowerThinking.
Yeah.
We just have no idea all that we can accomplish. And what we focus on with PowerThinking is giving you those skills of resilience so that, as you're pursuing those transformational goals and you hit those roadblocks, that it doesn't shut you down. And for most people, it shuts them down and they stop and they quit.
Right, because fear,
And
it's
the only
fear.
difference
It's
is
fear.
that fear. It's that fear. So, folks, thank you very much for being with us. Leslie will be with us again this evening. Hopefully that this was something that you're going to be thinking about all day. You may have questions, you may have input for this evening. Have you ever achieved a transformational goal? So appreciate you joining us. I'm going to go into our telephone platform audience and just kind of wish them goodbye. Folks that I haven't acknowledged before, Mary Bell, Danielle Spencer, good to see you. Claudia, I didn't see you earlier, and Margaret, and Farrellyn, good to see you, and some of the other folks, Peg Kowalski, I see Ash and Layla. Have a wonderful day. I see Gail Berger and our newest member, Dr. Chelsea Foster, just last night. Thank you for joining us as well. Make it a wonderful day, everyone. Think about those transformational goals. And remember, since we spend all of our time thinking these 50,000 thoughts a day, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. And Leslie, we're going back to the studio as we concluded with our folks. So many folks, and a brand new member from just last night who joined us on the app. And for those of you interested in our Power Thinking Corp app, we are sending you notifications, keeping you positive, drilling down on our 7 inner strengths and skills of resilience. Make sure you go to the App Store or the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. Go to Power Thinking Corp, Power Thinking, one word, and then Corp, C-O-R-P, and download that app. If I see that your name is in the system, I will email you a $10. It's the time of giving. You're getting a 30-day free trial, so you'll enter your credit card information, but you will not be charged for 30 days. And then on top of that, we'll get you a $10 Amazon gift card. If you heard about this on Leslie's program, then make sure that you let us know that Leslie referred you. So when I see you come up, I'll ask you, I'll either call you or send you an email, because I'll have that information, who referred you, and mention Leslie Flowers if you saw this first on her program, so that she gets credit. So Leslie, thank you so much for being with us. I know you have a lot of work to do to prepare for tomorrow, but we'll see you this evening.
Yes.
Have a great one. And everyone who has joined us, I see a John Warner who's brand new, who joined us, and we had Jay and Olu join us on LinkedIn. We had a Chief. We had, I want to acknowledge the folks here.
Kimberly Lechnick was here.
That's right. There was Kimberly. Yes. And Kimberly was just on your program.
Yeah.
Sherry Aquari and Zara we had as well. So many folks. Thank you all for being with us. We'll see you again this evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time.